Hello everyone, and welcome to GloomGrave. GloomGrave is a first-person action RPG with a very simple art style and very simple premise. We pick one of these heroes. We will be picking the knight, and we plumb the depths of this dungeon. And at the very bottom is the Sword of Luna. When the Sword of Luna is retrieved, light will return to the world. Very simple stuff. And I really think GloomGrave is great at illustrating just how much you can do with very little. The art style is fairly minimalist, but it all the same has an enchanting, overcoming atmosphere. That skeleton fellow, he stepped on a trap. We want to avoid doing that ourselves for reasons you just witnessed. That trap teleported that poor skeleton somewhere. Who knows where? Somewhere we don't want to be. But this is a roguelike. We move one turn at a time. Taking a step is a turn. Attacking is a turn. But there are many things which aren't turns. For example, inventory management doesn't take a turn. We could eat this cheese, drink this potion, equip this shield, and we could do that all in one turn. Speaking of this shield, it requires 11 strength to use effectively. And right now, we only have 10 strength up here. We've picked the knight class, so we have high strength, but low speed and accuracy. We also have high defense, though. So our biggest weakness in this run is going to be the lack of accuracy. Because however strong we are, it doesn't really matter if we can't hit the enemies. So we're going to need to find and equip gear which increases our accuracy. Fortunately, there aren't too many items which require more strength than we have. The tower shield requires 11 strength, we have 10. I think I've seen one other item which requires 12 strength. But outside of that, I think we're pretty good on strength. We can also pull up a map. Thankfully, the map only shows us what we've already seen. As you can see, even though we entered this room, not all of the room is filled out, only what we've seen so far. Looks like this is a treasure chest room. There haven't been any enemies in treasure chest rooms that I've seen so far. Oh, a ring of agility. That's actually great, because agility is one of the things we're not so hot at. Agility is used for dodging, and if you're playing as the rogue class, the dodging is extremely valuable. It's less so as the knight because we have high defense, but it still covers something that we're not good at. We're going to lure the skeleton archer over here. So in very traditional roguelike fashion, turn-based roguelike fashion anyway, every time we take a move, everything around us also takes a move. You're seeing immediately the issue. We don't have good accuracy. So we'll just keep missing and missing and missing. And there are ways to get around that. Like I said, there are items we can pick up which increase our accuracy. We can also purchase items which increase our accuracy from a shopkeep. Or we can approach one of these statues and increase our accuracy this way. Now, I want that additional strength, because with that additional strength, we can equip the tower shield. Unfortunately, though, our current weapon, the longsword, is two-handed, so we'd also need a one-handed weapon to use the tower shield. It's quite an investment, but the bonus defense we get from that tower shield will be worth it, and we'll also be able to equip any other tower shields we find in the future. So it's a long-term investment. It's a single coin. Oh, wow, there's actually quite a lot of enemies in this room. There's usually not so many in one place. I'm sure we can handle it, though. Assuming we can hit them. Which is not always a given. It's not always a given. My roommate Nathan really likes that the two-eyed slimes split into one-eyed slimes. Let's see what we've got here. Each time we level up, we get a perk. Stone Hammer, critical hits knock back enemies. Critical hits make us invisible. We want that. Going invisible basically makes you invincible, because when you're invisible, the enemies will no longer try to hurt you. You might see down here we have 14 shield icon and 11 sword icon. This is the knight's special ability. After they level up, they very briefly get buffs to their defense. Well, I shouldn't say very briefly. After they level up, they get buffs to their defense and attack. And those buffs stay until they're all used up. So it went from 11 to 10 because we did a single attack. That's something rather unique about the buffs in this game, is that 14 defense and that 10 offense buff we have, it'll stay there. Those are the number of uses those have. They don't count down over time. So any buffs you apply in this game are never going to be wasted. That's just neat, I think. That's a cool idea. This dungeon has 9 floors, 3 areas. Oh, what's this ring? Ring of strength. We don't really need any more strength. We have 20. How did we get 20 strength? Hold on. Did we equip something that gave us additional strength? Not the longsword. Not the helmet. Did the boots give us additional strength? Oh, wait. I'm being foolish. I'm being foolish. It's the buff. It's the buff we have right now. The strength buff. I went into a menu and completely forgot that we had that buff applied. But yeah, those buffs, they last until you use them. Don't go away a moment sooner. The music, I think, adds a lot to the atmosphere of this game. It's very old school. So when people say JRPG, they probably mean a very particular style of Japanese RPG. But dungeon crawling, heavily atmospheric JRPGs are also a thing. And that's what this music brings to mind. It's a rather nostalgic thing. But in spite of that nostalgia, I also think it does a rather excellent job of setting the tone. Oh yes, we do need more agility. Though we will be giving that agility up for anything which increases our accuracy later. So you see the stomach icon down here? That means we're hungry. It says we are starving. I've never been able to find out what that means though. This number right here next to the stomach, it'll go up and down as time goes on. But it doesn't seem to matter. I've had that number over 1,000. I've had it at negative 500. I'm not really sure what it does. Like, is being hungry actually a mechanic? This game is in early access, so maybe it hasn't been properly implemented yet. But it seems like, unlike a traditional roguelike game, the hunger mechanic just doesn't matter. Like, it hasn't been implemented properly. There are unidentified items we can pick up just like any other roguelike. Let's drink this one. That poisoned us, which is no concern. Because even though we took a bunch of damage from that poison, we can just eat a turkey leg to get it back. And that will fix our hunger, though I'm not sure that matters. It matters that it refilled our health, not so much that we're no longer hungry. But yes, this game is in early access. And as of this video's recording, this might change before it gets uploaded, but as of this video's recording, the dev mostly publishes their logs outside of Steam. This is available on Steam. The game page is in the description. And I really think it would serve the game better if the dev updated... if the dev posted his updates on Steam more, as opposed to exclusively outside of Steam. These gloves aren't anything special, but they'll get the job done. Another thing which makes this atmosphere so compelling to me is that I've always loved boxy designs. There's something surreal about an environment made of boxes. And, you know, I've seen those Windows 95? Was it 95? I think it was 95. I've seen those Windows 95 screensavers everyone talks so much about. And I've always wanted to play them. Who hasn't? And this is a very close fantasy-themed approximation of that. Here's a shopkeep. Looks like we've cleared out the floor. So let's talk to the shopkeep. We have 4 coins, which honestly isn't a lot. I believe the rogue gets more coins than the other classes, but I might be mistaken. That buckler of accuracy would be great, but we cannot afford it. Is there anything else of accuracy? Oh yeah, a cloak of accuracy. Well, we need all the accuracy we can get, so even though it is expensive, we're going to bite the bullet. You know, beggars can't be choosers. Alright, so we no longer need these cloaks of agility, because we have equipped the cloak of accuracy instead. Our accuracy is now 7. That's much higher than what it was. Alright, let's get out of here. I do believe the music switches when you switch biomes, which we will be doing shortly. Ooh, a buckler. Just a regular buckler. We can't really equip it because we still have a two-handed weapon. We will need to find a one-handed weapon during this run to use the tower shield. So as to the enemy types, there are quite a few, especially given how short the game is. There are only 9 floors. But in spite of the decent enemy variety, there's not a lot of distinction between them in terms of the threat they offer. Like, don't get me wrong, they all have their own stats and visual distinctions, which make them feel unique. But aside from the ones which can poison you, ooh, what's this helmet? Just a regular +1 helmet. Well, it's better than our +0 helmet, so we'll put it on. But anyway, aside from the enemies which can poison you, which do feel very distinct, and the enemies with projectiles, which obviously are projectiles, it mostly feels like a very straightforward affair. Like, you see an enemy... these guys can poison you, by the way. You see an enemy, you hope you hit it enough times for it to die before it hits you enough times for you to die. And that's about it. That's about the long, short, and thick and thin of it. So there's not quite as much strategy involved as you would think if you're a fan of roguelikes or if you've played many other turn-based roguelikes. Like, I've played a bunch. Oh, what have we got here? Let's see. This one in the middle just refills our health, which isn't great. Critical hits knock enemies back. I'm not sure why we'd want that. A potion's effects are much stronger. Sure. But yeah, if you play a lot of turn-based roguelikes, as I have, then the enemy variety in this game, while visually distinct and they all again have distinct stats, is rather underwhelming because however different they look and whatever stats they might have, there's very little difference in strategy required when approaching them. And in traditional turn-based roguelikes, the idea is that you want to make every move count. Because if you successfully make the most out of every move, then the enemies won't get a chance to gang up on you. Because, you know, rooms often contain multiple enemies. They won't get to use any of their powerful spells. It's about managing your time as effectively as you possibly can. Doing a cost-benefit analysis on every single turn you take. And that's just not a concern here either, partially because, well, the enemies, again, are so very, very easy. But also, because... oh, bone meal. But also because their pathing AI is extremely lackluster. It's very rare that more than one enemy will gang up on you at a time. And it's even more rare that an enemy will act in ways which benefits their survival or self-interest, right? We have a single key and 2 chests. Let's take this chest. I like the look of this chest. Most of the time, the enemies are rather content to walk into traps or just walk straight toward you, even if they're ranged enemies. And under no circumstance do they seem to back up. So they're not particularly smart, the enemies in GloomGrave. Anyway, we're on a new biome, means the music is shifted. And I do think there's something missing in the game because of the lackluster enemy AI. Again, I want to be clear, I do really like this game. Wow, we're rolling in the cash now. Let's see how much we got. 9. Yeah, we can afford something decent, but let's explore more before we hit up the shopkeep. Oh, is that a one-handed weapon? Let's see, +2 dagger, 4 to 8 damage. That's not quite what I'm looking for. That's not good enough. There's some decent one-handed weapons, but that's not one of them. Like that guy with the dagger, he has his own stats. He looks completely different from any of the enemies we've seen before, but he's not really more threatening. His AI doesn't behave any differently. He doesn't have any super special properties about him. And that's the thing about other turn-based roguelikes and mystery dungeon games, is that every enemy, in addition to looking special, was special. They had some kind of unique property that you needed to memorize about them in order to succeed. And that's just not the case here. 1 boot plus 2 boots is better than +1 boots. I can do math. Ring of Regen. What do we have right now? Ring of Agility. We probably don't need a Ring of Regen. I feel like our health's going to be alright during this run. We have really high defense. Though in the late game, the enemies not only get better at evading, but really, really start putting the hurt on you. You'll notice that our stomach is at 777. I don't know what that means. I really don't understand what I'm supposed to get out of our stomach being at 777. I hope that's not how many stomachs we have. Maybe a wizard placed a curse on us. But yeah, the enemy AI and the enemy threat level, pretty regrettable. Let's see. Food produces greater healing. Sure. That will come in handy later, when we actually need to start healing ourselves. I really like this, this teal tile, which is meant to represent some kind of grime that's on the floor of this area. It actually really looks really nice. Look at how it transitions from that teal to a bluish gray, and then to the actual color of the wall. Look at that. Like, it's splashing up against the wall. That's really cool. I love how much they managed to do with so relatively little. There's this unfortunate sentiment that minimalism is inherently lower effort or worse as an art style than higher detail stuff, but I don't think that's true. I feel like the ability to communicate more with less is undervalued. Don't we already have a Ring of Agility? Yes, we do. So we don't need this one, that's for sure. Alright, another statue's up ahead, so we'll get more accuracy, because that is, again, our weakest link. And we certainly don't seem to need any more strength at present. And from what I recall, having beaten this game many, many times, as other classes, we never will need more strength. We're pretty good on strength. Speaking of having beaten this game many times before, the knight is who we're playing as right now, the knight is an unlockable character. And in order to unlock him, let's see here, anything for accuracy. Ah, Cloak of Accuracy. What do we have? What cloak do we have equipped right now? I need to check. 0 accuracy cloak. No, we don't want that. We're getting the 2 accuracy cloak. We're upgrading. Anyway, as I was saying, this knight is an unlockable character. And in order to unlock him, you must defeat 300 enemies. And I don't know if you've noticed based on the rate at which we've been defeating enemies, but 300 enemies, that's a lot. That is an incredibly unreasonable amount of enemies to expect the player to defeat. Like, before I unlocked the knight, do you want to know how long I played? It took 4 hours. Like, I like this game, but 4 hours of my time to unlock the knight class. And the knight class is just, you know, he has high defense and high strength. It really feels like it's not respecting my time. Can I equip this, please? But yeah, it really felt like the game wasn't respecting my time. Because as much affection as I have for GloomGrave, I'd basically seen all of the design by the time I unlocked the knight. And the Knight's really fun to play with. He's my preferred class out of the ones available so far. And I really like his special ability. I wasn't keen on it at first, but I've come to love it. It's just 4 hours. That's too much time. And the reason that it took so long to unlock him, of course, is that this is a very short game, as we've discussed. Nope, no agility. We're all about that accuracy. 9 floors, takes about like 30 to 40 minutes by my estimation to finish a run. It's not a particularly difficult game, and none of those are necessarily bad things, I think. But if you're trying to sell a game on Steam, people on Steam are obsessed with game length. And I've talked before, I think that's unfortunate. I don't think the value of a game is determined by its length. I don't think that's ever been the case. The value in a game has never been anything except for what it offers you, the player, as an experience. What did you get emotionally, intellectually out of the experience? That's what matters in a game. But a lot of people don't see it that way. They just want to spend a lot of time doing something. And I think that's unfortunate, because that 4 hours, I enjoyed some of it, but most of it I was just like, man, can I play as the Knight now? I already know how to beat the game. I just want to play as the Knight. Our health's in bad shape, but we do have another turkey leg. I do believe we also have a scroll of healing. And healing items, I think, heal us more because of a perk we grabbed. Oh, we get to grab another perk right now. Let's see. More experience from enemies. Chance for monsters to drop loot. Yeah, let's go with that one. This music is, ooh, what's this? +4 gloves of resist poison. Well, we only have +0 gloves right now, so we definitely want these. There are weapons that are imbued with elemental effects as well. They seem very, very rare, but they do exist. So, like in another Mystery Dungeon game, for example, you see that guy behind this goblin we're fighting. That guy back there, he would be coming over here to get at me. But in this game, the AI is too simple for that. And again, I think that's a real shame, because it's missing so much of the strategic value in a traditional Mystery Dungeon experience. What's this? Just regular +3 gloves? Nope. There's also the fact that enemies cannot attack you diagonally in this experience. And I'm not saying that, like, there's a categorical design template that you must adhere to. I'm not out here to say that. Your game should be what you want your game to be. Right? But there is a very good reason that those design principles were in place. It's because they encouraged more strategizing on the part of the player. And it helped the world feel more alive and more threatening, that your enemies both outnumbered you and were smart enough to use that to their advantage. I wonder, what's the name I'm thinking of? What was it? It was fairly popular. I'm trying to remember. Grimrock, Legends of Grimrock. I think that might have been what it was. I wonder how similar Legends of Grimrock was to this, because... Oh, that fellow seems to have stepped on a poison trap over there. Because Legends of Grimrock, I saw a friend play back when it first came out, which it must have been 2012, right? That seems about around the time. I saw a friend play when it first came out. And I saw it was a very traditional first-person dungeon crawling. Ooh! Oh, yes! Yes, please give me that. Freezing is so helpful. Like, in any event where an enemy's wailing on us, the capacity to just stop them from assaulting us entirely for a few turns is incredibly valuable. I love freezing effects in games. I love them. especially turn-based games, they're super helpful. Obviously, they're helpful in real-time games as well, but their effectiveness greatly varies there. Hello. Anyway, as I was saying, I wonder if Legend of Grimrock was also a roguelike. I don't actually know much about it. I don't want to say it was too popular for me to get into, but it is often the case that I gravitate toward games which are more independent. And yes, I know that Legend of Grimrock was an indie game. But this, for example, only one person, as far as I'm aware, is working on this. So it's as indie gets, you know? We're probably not going to get to use that shield that I picked up at the beginning. But it's not like that extra strength we picked up was a bad thing. Also, our strength bonus is gone. It'll come back when we get another level up. But that frost sword's already putting in the work for us. I'm very happy with it. Oh, is our inventory full? Fair enough. Let's drink an unidentified potion. Oh, it's a health potion. Each step we take, we'll get healed. That's neat. Let's see, what else have we got here? We don't need this ring of strength. We're already plenty beefy. Don't need this tower shield. I think we've given up on that. Hunter's bow, don't need that either. Let's see. Don't need this buckler. Don't need these +1 boots. Got 40 wooden arrows. We're just collecting those for fun. Now, what's this? +4 leather armor. Don't we have a +3 ringmail armor of strength? I think we're going to leave this behind. The upgrade isn't worth losing the strength buff. Let's see. Okay. Hello. Like, see what I mean? The enemy isn't... He should really have backed up. He's an archer. He should have started running away and shooting at us from a distance, but he just stayed close and kept assaulting us anyway. The enemy AI is very, very simple, and so is their pathing. Ooh, a scroll of teleport. After we clear out the floor, we're going to use that. Not for any particular reason, besides that there is an achievement which triggers if I use a scroll of teleport. But yeah, the enemies are a bit easy to bait in this one. Let's see, what are the current gloves we have? +4 gloves of resist poison. +5 gloves, but no resist poison. I think we're good. I think we're good with what we got. That is a trap. Let's not step on that. I don't know what it does, but the spike traps, they'll kill you right away. The spike traps do not screw around. I've died, I think most of the runs I've lost, if not all of the runs I've lost, have been to spike traps. Like I said, not a particularly difficult game. But the traps are the great equalizer. They're also very easy to see, though. We're not going to be equipping any shields, I don't think. Alright, looks like the floor is cleared out. It's time to use the scroll of teleport, because there is... Oh, didn't mean to scroll all the way down there. Time to use the scroll of teleport, because there is a Chivo for it. Alright, we've officially teleported. Where are we? Near the exit, it looks like. Good, that's ideal. And I think this next floor will put us on the final biome. Yeah, here we are, the Forbidden Temple. Only 3 floors left, and then the game's over. Hello. So this guy... This is the big guy. If you can fight this guy successfully, you're ready to beat the game. It looks like thanks to our ability to turn invisible and our frost sword, we came out on top. Increased inventory size. We want all the critical hits we can take. Yes, give me that. Short sword, +7 dagger, huh? 9 to 13 damage, but no freezing. Hello, mage friend. We're probably not going to ever get to see the mage use its spells. Because, again, the enemies are rather easy to bait. I can't help but notice that my stomach number is clipping into the other icon at this point. Really need more accuracy. Thankfully, there is a statue right there that'll help with our accuracy. Let's see. We need to heal ourselves as well. This is definitely my favorite track in the game. Of all the ones that remind me of Japanese dungeon crawling RPGs, this is the one that does it the most for sure. What are you? Scroll of Cure? Well, we're unlikely to be poisoned, but if we are, we have that. Let's see. Choices. Do we head down to the floor or explore some more? What do we have on us? We've got... trying to grab the scroll bar. We've got... Let's see. Turkey leg, apple, bone meal, turkey leg, cheese. I thought we had a scroll of... There's a scroll of healing. Okay, so we are pretty well survivable at this point. So let's head down another floor. Because when we get to the bottom floor, I don't want to spoil what happens, but we want to... But if you're within reach of the bottom floor, and you can tackle the... Ooh, plus 4 cloak of accuracy, you say? Yeah, let's get rid of the old one and equip this one. Yes, please. So, if you're within reach of the bottom floor, and you're strong enough to have defeated the Minotaur enemies, then you should just head for the bottom floor. At that point, there's no real reason to look around too much more. Because like I said, if you can beat those Minotaur guys, you're ready to tackle the end of the game. There's nothing else more the game can throw at you at that point. Which isn't... I guess that's not great. Like, the element of randomness that's present... Am I being assaulted? Oh yeah, from behind. The element of randomness that's present in other roguelikes, especially Mystery Dungeon games, keeps them engaging and interesting on multiple playthroughs, and no matter what gear you have equipped, because there's always a chance that something could go wrong. But in this game, it's much more predictable. Like I said, if you can tackle the Minotaurs, you're good. Just head for the exit. The feeling of uncertainty and discovery that comes with this sort of game really needs working on in GloomGrave, I think. Because at this point, I just have absolutely no doubt that I can win. I never had much doubt in the first place, but now I have even less doubt. I'm even more certain that we're going to survive just fine. Why did you step on that trap? Why did you do that? What was that beneficial to you in some way? Why did you do that? Very strange decision for you to have made. That could not have been the easiest way to get to me because you turned around and went the other way. Anyway, another turkey leg to eat. The rogue class is probably the most thoughtful to play because you have to balance... the rogue class comes with high accuracy and agility, and you want to focus on critical hits and evasion if you can. But they have very low strength, so they're very limited in what they're capable of actually equipping. So the gameplay progression is a little bit more interesting than the knight, which draws to mind, why is the knight so difficult to unlock? You start with the rogue, but the knight requires 300 enemies before he's playable, which is such a crazy high unlock ceiling. Unlock floor, one of those two things. The criteria, that's what I meant to say. I love that our character stomps around, takes these really big steps. That's a hero's walk is what that is. Well, if there was ever going to be... Oh, wait, no, there's the exit. Let's go to the exit. Like, this room right here could have been the most challenging room in the game. I don't know where the enemies went. I only see one of them now. I thought they were, like, trying to gang up on me. But instead, let's go to the exit. Okay, so yeah, that's it. It is kind of a disappointing ending. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you get to the bottom, recover the Sword of Luna, and that's it. Again, this game isn't early access, but right now it just feels like there's not enough compelling about the gameplay loop. Like I said, I had very little doubt I would succeed, and especially after I could beat the Minotaur, I knew we were going to make it to the end game. And the uncertainty and sense of discovery and the emergent gameplay properties that usually come with these games, it just aren't here. But it's got a good base. Like, I really like the atmosphere. I really like what it's going for. It's got a good base. I just think it needs to work on those elements we discussed during this video. But that's GloomGrave. We beat GloomGrave.